President Trump is certainly getting an earful this weekend from allies attending the G7 Economic Summit in Canada. They're fearful that his protectionist tariffs will result in trade wars. Less than 2 weeks ago, Trump announced that he would be imposing steep tariffs on steel and aluminum from three of our nation's biggest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. The EU's trade commissioner is among those concerned about the potential consequences of the president's trade policies.
I wouldn't say that we are in a trade war, but we are in a very difficult situation that could escalate. And that is why the countermeasures that we will be doing will be proportionate, and we will not try to escalate the situation. If the president were to impose tariffs on car and car parts, yes, that would be very serious. And then we would be in a very, very worrying situation. We do not think trade wars are good, neither are they easy to win. And the car industry in Europe, in the US, in Japan, and many other countries would suffer a great lot from this. But it would also affect jobs in the US, because we have many European companies who produce cars in the US. They employ American people who then pay taxes, and they would lose out of this. And so there are no winners in this.
Joining me now is Lew Weiss. He's CEO of All Metals and Forge Group, and he's co-host of MFG Talk Radio. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
What the EU commissioner was saying sounds very ominous.
It's ominous and probably worse than what she's predicting. It seems to be that they've already implemented the threat of putting in a 10 and 25% tariff on us, tit for tat retaliation in the trade wars. To treat our allies is pretty poor, considering this whole thing started out as a Chinese get even, but that's actually started March 23rd, and they only represent 2% of the steel that comes into this country. So by us making enemies with our friends is not a wise idea. And the administration seems to be pretty committed to do this.
Now, has this been done before? Has any president?
It's been done 5 times before, and it's always failed.
Who did it last? Who tried it last?
George W. He did it and lost 230,000 jobs in less than 2 years.
So now when the economy seems to be thriving, do you think
it's thriving? But we're going to lose 400,000 people if they keep it in place. And the reason being, the tariffs are imposed. The consumer, the end consumer, not the manufacturer, but you and I on the street, we're going to buy a product, a refrigerator, a car, an appliance. There's 1,300 products that are on this list of items that are going to be tariffed. Well, it's going to be the end user, you and I. And once they stop or slow down selling goods, it's going to wind up that people will lose jobs.
Now, aluminum, a tariff on aluminum. Can we in this country manufacture enough aluminum to make up for the shortfall we won't be getting from foreign countries?
Every country today needs other countries to help them out. Depending upon logistics and so on, it might be easier to get aluminum from Brazil than it is from Ohio today. The point is that the effect is going to be that we are all going to pay the price, and we'll wind up losing jobs.
Losing jobs at a time we have a record high employment. But how, again, specifically, how is it going to hit us in the pocketbook?
Well, all the tariffs, it's a tax on the people. And the administration doesn't want to acknowledge that. He's using this as a negotiating tool to get better deals. And maybe there need to be better deals, but not this way. He was going in the direction of maybe imposing quota. Well, quotas would be better than a tax. This way you can control what comes in, what doesn't come in. Making these products to be a security measure, which is what Mr. Trump was talking about with regards to Canada and Mexico, that it's a national security issue. I really find that hard to accept, but that terminology fits in under a law that he's able to do this.
Why, if the economy is thriving right now, why do you believe the president is imposing these tariffs
Well, there
at
are
this time?
there are issues. There are issues in some of our trade pacts, and they need to be fixed. But they need to be fixed. You know, we have different people negotiating them today. NAFTA has been in place for over 20 years. Well, things evolve. Now we have to change some of the aspects of these tariffs, NAFTA being one, but to pull out or impose a tariff against our closest trading partner, it makes absolutely no sense. There's better ways to sit and talk about it, not just wake up one morning and say, oh, I got a pin in my side, I have to impose tariffs.
What about the legality of it? Is it legal for the president
Yeah,
to do
it
this?
is. It is legal. Because there is a law, 232, that gives him the right to be able to impose tariffs. Congress, as of last night, many of the GOP senators are talking about imposing a law that he cannot do this unless he's got an approval from Congress, which will be great, but I don't know if you have enough GOP people to support it.
There's concern that this could lead to inflation.
It's already started. Price index has already gone up in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it's already started.
So this is going to have an impact on our standard of living.
Absolutely. You know, they were talking about, at the beginning of the year, they were talking about us perhaps reaching a GDP of 4%. Yesterday, I had on our show, Manufacturing Talk Radio, we had the committee chair for the report on business, and his tone has changed that if this keeps going the way it is, we're not going to see 4%.
Wow.
We'll see 2.5, which isn't terrible by our standards, but 4 would be terrific.
I saw a figure, National Retail Federation calculates a trade war could cost the average American family $1,700 in the first year. So it hits home.
Absolutely.
Okay, stay tuned. Let's see what comes out of the G7 summit.
Or 6.
Or 6. Lew Weiss, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for our broadcast for this week. If you have any comments or wish to see this broadcast again, log on to our website at pix11.com/newscloseup. I'm Marvin Scott. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone.